Hey guys, welcome to Stock Talk on August 22nd. We have a lot to go over today. There's a lot of trends that are emerging and a lot of new trends that are shifting around. So we'll get started on the SPY as always, looking at the S&P 500 on the intraday chart. The first thing you notice is, of course, the light blue line situated at 287, which is the resistance for the market. Note that yesterday we did make an all-time high, but we managed to come down due to news, and you can see the catalyst back down, but look how quickly we recovered. So remember yesterday, we talked about the potential for the spider or the SPY to hit the 284 support level, and we didn't hit it. Now, remember, so what are we doing now? You guys can see that we recovered intraday and we pretty much ended, near the middle of the bottom and the top of yesterday. That's perfectly fine, but looking at the big picture, what are you guys seeing on the big picture? It looks pretty darn bullish, right? So regardless, if we get a chance in a bull market, if there's certainly a dip, that's a certain time to buy into the market when there's a dip. I'm not going to... I know some of you guys are asking me, like, are you shorting the S&P 500? I'm, in my opinion, I'm certainly not shorting the market. Even though we're nearing the top, we're still bullish. So what am I going to do? The safer play is buying on dips if they occur. So here we are. Here's the resistance. You guys can see we made another candle here. And what are we doing? Well, we've had a period of days in which we've had an up run, right? And now we're moving sideways. We can certainly come down just a little bit and consolidate before that next push higher. So this is very bullish market behavior, and we continue to be bullish. Just seeing the futures yesterday, seeing the futures this morning, and of course during the market day today. So overall, market's looking very solid, and let's look at volatility, TVIX, and here we are looking at the so here's volatility. So the first thing you guys have to see is we're looking at the yearly chart and that we're continuing to move lower. Sure, we haven't hit the 2963 level, which is the all-time low. However, we're getting close to that level. So even if we see some sort of bounce there, we'll get to it when we get to it. But generally, volatility is moving down as the markets are pushing higher. So that's going to be the story, whether we consolidate sideways or move down a little bit. Regardless, looking bullish continuously. All right, let's take a look at commodities. Now, here is a trend that has changed. Here was crude oil. Now, crude oil had a massive day, surged over 3%. And what were we looking for in previous days? Remember, we said that crude oil continues to look bearish unless we can actually close above the 66.70. Well, not only did we close above the 66.70, we managed to hit 68.11. What does that mean for crude oil? Crude oil, all of a sudden, looks like it is ready for a reversal. A reversal back where? Well, first off, we got to keep in mind that we do have some resistance areas, one of which is situated at $69. The next one would be around $70. And then, of course, we have the all-time highs around $74.36. Once again, doesn't mean it has to hit all those numbers tomorrow, but crude oil is on the uptrend. The bearish pattern has been taken off the table because of this break-in pattern. And you guys know, so once you guys take the course is under development, you guys will know. I was looking for a short in crude oil, and you might be wondering, well, Kevin, look, it just went higher. You would have been wrong significantly on the crude oil trade if you shorted it. But I was looking at several factors. One of the factors was certainly a rejection at 66.53. So did we have a rejection at 66.53? You guys can see that we had a rejection here, right, on this day. But then look what happened when we continued here, right? Was there an actual rejection? And there wasn't afterwards. You guys can see that it continuously went higher. You can't take a short trade if, it's going to continuously move higher, just like this pattern, right? Because rejection means at the very least it would come down and perhaps meet some sort of support down at the bottom. Of course, we didn't have that turnaround, the U-turn, and therefore the steady progression to the upside did in fact play to the upside. Crude oil looking very nice right now. So the ticker we have to be interested in is UWT. You guys can see UWT. I'll take you guys to the yearly chart. All of a sudden, gap higher, looking pretty good. And overall, I think this is a pretty nice pattern to look at if you're looking into commodities. /NG. Now this one has not changed. Recall in yesterday's video, we talked about the potential for natural gas to come down. Why? Because we were at a resistance area of 2.990, 2.991, and look what happened today. We came off of the resistance, and now today we came straight back down. So that's perfectly normal. Natural gas, what can we expect in the near future? Well, we can see some consolidation pattern back and forth up here. That is certainly normal. But whether if you're a participant in natural gas or you're shorting natural gas, that is more risky. Perhaps shorting it is a little less risky, but regardless, we're near the resistance. Certainly hard to say if you want to go long right now. It's hard to say. Okay. Finally, /GC is gold futures, and a lot of you guys were talking to me about gold futures because gold formed an area of reversal at 1178, and you guys know I have a resistance line drawn around 1210, 1211, and you guys are like, well, look what's happening to gold, right? We hit the resistance line, we came off of it, rejection. Okay, that's interesting, right? Because every time we've hit these resistance areas, we've gotten rejected, and the next day usually, started that leg down. So what is the probable trajectory just based off of previous patterns? The probable trajectory is back down. But right now, we don't see that sign of a reversal just yet. We saw that rejection. We haven't seen that definitive reversal. But if we do see that definitive reversal, certainly we can, short gold if you want to. But right now, you guys can see this is where the area of danger comes in. If you're going into gold, sure, there's a surprise factor if we could pop over this level. As a matter of fact, I can argue if we do pop over the 1211 and close over the 1211 level, that is extremely bullish for gold, and that would potentially mean significantly higher prices to come for gold. But right now, we can't break over it. So just be cautious on that one. Let's take a look at your tickers. We'll start with Chris. So thank you once again for commenting. Can you take a look at SBUX today? So the ticker is SBUX. So SBUX, and yeah, Apple, if you can resubmit that ticker for under the video today, please do that. And before I get to your SBUX ticker, be sure to hit the like button if you do enjoy these videos. I always do it for you guys, so hopefully enjoy it and hit that like if you do. Looking at SBUX, actually, let's take a look at a couple of this. So SBUX right now is not that great, and you guys can see I have a support resistance area at $53. As a matter of fact, I can probably readjust this just a little bit to compensate for more recent market behavior, but regardless, you guys can see that this is an area of resistance, right? As a matter of fact, we have several resistance areas for SBUX. One is around 53.91, the other is around 55.50. And then if we can break over that level, sure, that could be the potential play for SBUX. But right now, what is it forming? This is a traditional bear flag pattern, right? That usually plays out to the downside. So while SBUX could have potential in the future, right now, you guys can see this drop today over 2%. Not that great, especially as markets did push higher. So just keep that in mind. Luis, let's take a look at CHK. It closed right at the resistance. For CHK, yeah, and you guys can see that it did, if you're trying to do a more bull flag pattern, right, in this case, you would have done this, and it did close, certainly close to the resistance area. As a matter of fact, actually kind of went over the resistance area. So, overall, I think this is a fine, okay trend. You guys can see that we're starting to head on the uptrend. The one thing I want to be cautious about is, once again, while I do like this pattern, these are rather big moves, right? These are 3-4% moves every day. And if you wanted to, you could certainly invest. I think if you were in it near the support, that's good. If you're going into it right now, again, this is a hard argument to make if you want to go into it right now. Perhaps there will be 1 or 2 more days of updates before it comes back down just a tad bit. So just keep that in check. Okay, so Jeannie, you're new here. Hey, welcome to the channel. Do you think the timing is right to buy Microsoft? Thank you for your insight. So here's Microsoft, and Microsoft certainly looks pretty good. And I think we talked about Microsoft when it was over here around 107.48, and you might be like, well, Kevin, didn't it go down further? Well, yeah, it did go down further, but I talked about 107.48, but I also talked about this 50-period moving average at 104.64. Those two are very good opportune buying areas, and certainly you guys can imagine if I just drew a box between these two areas, this is a good time, perhaps if you want to enter into Microsoft, to look into entering Microsoft. This is a very stellar stock. It's been in an uptrend. Nothing wrong with this pattern. Good job. Good call out. GERP. You're welcome. So, do you have any oil stocks you recommend? Oh, on the TSX. Oil stocks for short-term trading. So, yeah, we talked about UWT, right, as the potential oil, ETF to trade in. So that's the one I would be looking at. All right, let's take a look at your Facebook ticker, BLCM. Okay, so this is a pharmaceutical company. So looking at this pattern, what do you guys see? Right, just taking a look at this. Well, you obviously should see a downtrend. This is a downtrend, and what's been going on with this one? Well, you guys can see that now we're short-term, we're moving higher, but at what point would you be, saying, hey, I'm done with the stock, I'm out, and I'll take my profits if I've made any? That's a hard one to judge just based off of this pattern. One can argue that this is right now currently a horizontal pattern, but this is so sporadic on the downtrend. What are your odds of losing money versus gaining money? Well, your odds of losing money is greater or slightly greater than winning money just because this is on a downtrend with an unpredictable pattern. So while short term you might be okay, long term hard to justify a hold. Yarvin, you're welcome. Eric, can you take a look at Nvidia? So Nvidia is one that I've been in for just a tad bit for the past day, as a matter of fact. And so here's Nvidia, right? Very solid pattern. And one thing you have to realize is look how we held the moving average. Once again, this is a very solid pattern, and this is usually will play out continuously to the upside. Now you might be asking, Kevin, is this the right time to get into Nvidia? I think there is perhaps a couple more days of an uptrend for Nvidia, barring the markets doesn't go down. And, right now, there's certainly potential to break the all-time highs around 260. I'll say the resistance is around 266.78 for the time being. There's certainly potential to reach that level, perhaps even more. So, great call out for Nvidia. Another stellar stock. Long SD, you're always on point when calling, always, well, thank you, when calling pullbacks. I'm getting a list ready, though. Can you please take a look at CSCO for me? It's flirting out with the breakout pattern. And here's CSCO we're looking at right here. And I agree, it is flirting with a breakout pattern, resistance 46.29, but that's the more reason why you need to be cautious, right? Because we're near the resistance. I don't think, it's hard to once again justify going in a position at a resistance just to take that gamble that we're going to break over it, right? We could certainly come down perhaps to the, $45 area, around that area, but right now it's 46, 45.99, but I would wait for a couple of days for this one to play out and see what happens. If it breaks out, great, we'll revisit during that time, but right now we're smack dab at the resistance area, and therefore just gotta wait it out. That way, can I take a look at MOMO? So I think a lot of people are interested in this one just because MOMO moves rather quickly, and this, you guys can see how quickly it has moved from the past 5 days, 4 or 5 days. We've moved over 20%. So right now, this is looking better, and this was partially, here's the earnings report. Actually, let me take a look at earnings really quick. And here's the earnings report, right? And we went to pretty much a high of 45, but that is when you want to be cautious. Where are we right now on the yearly chart? We're at the resistance area at 44.18. We're actually really close to it, perhaps right on it. So, you know, once again, this is one where people like to talk about it after the fact, where something's gone up significantly. Sure, it can go up further once again, but, you know, are you willing to take that risk? What happens if it comes down 5%? Are you going to be scared off and lose that 5%? You know, is this your optimal buy area? And the answer has to be based off of your own opinion. Right now, we're at the near-term resistance, and, you know, that you just have to take it as it is. Sure, we have a potential to gap up even higher tomorrow, but, you know, that's one for you to consider. Like GERP, I'm scared of MOMO, right? Yeah, I mean, you know, that could be why. All right, Lou, what do you think about TOL? Seems pretty ugly, but the company earning. So it's interesting how you gave me a ticker in which you think it looks pretty ugly, in the chart at least, but you think the company earnings doing well. So I see what you're saying. You're saying it's ugly because look at the candle made today, but you're saying it was doing well because of earning, because of this massive push up. And I have to argue that it looks ugly. So the reason why this is because as we move higher, once again, as the stock moved lower, we established very strong areas of resistance, one of which is actually a very strong resistance at 40.95, which we didn't get to. Sure, we have the potential to get up there, but as this is a catalyst due to earnings, you know, we need more information on this one. Is this going to be on an uptrend? Who knows? It might be. It might be in the next few weeks, but we'll have to wait a few weeks for this one to play out before we could definitively say that we found that reversal. So while this could be a good pattern, I would just wait on it as well. K9, Baidu. Yeah, so if you could make sure to submit the ticker and not the name, and I happen to know Baidu is this one, but just please submit the ticker. It just makes it easy on me because sometimes I might not be aware of all the stocks out there. So so here's Baidu. I'm going to take this off the chart again, and this is looking similar to Alibaba. Remember Alibaba, which we analyzed yesterday? So here's the support area for Baidu. I'm going to do this at 211.40, and you guys can see that we bounced straight off. However, and this is another however, right? We talked about the however yesterday for Alibaba. Same thing for Baidu, in which we are trying to push higher and we're failing that test right now. So what are we looking for? There could be another potential leg down, right? Or we could potentially consolidate at the 20-period moving average. Note that we're not even there yet. Here's the 20-period moving average. We need to wait a couple more days. You know, the optimal buy area, I agree, would be probably around 220 or lower in that case. If we can consolidate a couple of days here, perhaps that could be another sign that we could be trying to move higher. In the meantime, you know, I would, if you really, really love Baidu in this company, you could go in just a little bit, I think, but I would personally wait just a longer. If I miss the uptrend, I would be fine with this one as well. And finally, Chris. Oh, actually, we're going to tackle Apple right now because it looks like someone else. Wait, Chris. Actually, never mind. You talked about you talked about Apple last time, so we'll tackle Apple tomorrow. We'll save this one for tomorrow, so make sure you resubmit that one. In the meantime, guys, thank you very much for watching this video. I will see you guys tomorrow for the Thursday stock talk, and then that will end the week, and we'll resume stock talks, of course, on Sunday during the weekend. Hopefully hit that like button once again if you liked it. Markets generally looking bullish. I mean, I once again want to point you guys to that spider right now and just see that, you know, we came down today. We actually, you know, went significantly lower after market yesterday. But that really didn't matter, right? Regardless of what news it is, especially if it's things that deals with Trump and whatnot, you guys can see how fast that dissipates, right? Because we've had so much of that in the past, it doesn't really matter too much anymore. And this is the market's reaction. So overall, looking solid. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and happy trading.